We'll return to Star Trek following these messages.
Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners.
30 years of work pretty much into this big coffee table book, which now is benefited by a show like this, where you can see a lot of this stuff that I newly created and some of the older stuff I've done.
Welcome back, everybody. Time again for another Word Balloon, the comic book conversation show. John Suntress here. It's New York Comic Con week, so it's a little hard to book comic book guests, although my guest tonight certainly has her ties to the comic book world as well, from Monkey Brain Publishing, one of the great digital efforts of the teens, the 2010s, if you will, and certainly also publishing adjacent things like the compendiums for League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and the like. But happy to welcome Allison Baker to a Trek Watch, because we're going to talk about Strange New Worlds ultimately. Good to see you, Al.
Hey, John. I want Franco to draw me now, because I feel like I need my own. That opening was epic. That was epic.
You know, it's crazy. That's technically sound-alike music.
Is it really?
Yeah, which I know.
I bet I could get a friend. I bet I could have a good friend if you really wanted something. I bet my friend Zach could make you something.
Now, Allison, beyond her comic book bona fides, is also a person that spent a lot of time in television, and among the things she worked on was the Winona Earp series from the Sci-Fi Channel, featuring, as we know from our love of Star Trek, Captain Batel was Winona Earp. There she is.
There she is. There's Mel.
Melanie Scrofano, everybody. And I'll get into some Star Trek Con talk as well, because the 5th episode dropped this week, and I caught Peacemaker before we came on, so I'm all caught up on the finale, and I can keep spoiler-free comments on this season of Peacemaker as well. But I know you wanted to talk to me about Strange New Worlds, Al, because you feel like you have a in the room perspective, being part of the production staff. Forgive me again, your title with the team.
Well, I did a lot of things, but my technical credit on the show was on-site publicist.
On-site publicist. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was in. And like, if you look at the show credits, like that's what it says. I do.
But you did, I know you made electronic press kits, so you did a lot of interviews.
Yeah, I did. There was a companion episode to every single episode of the show for all 4 seasons. So, and by the time I was doing season 4, they were like no shorter than 11 or 12 minutes long. So the longest was 27 minutes long. So
okay,
and they're on the finale.
And they're on the DVDs, obviously.
There's Blu-rays for seasons 1 through 3 that we did Kickstarters for. We didn't end up doing. COVID kind of messed up a lot of stuff in season 4 for us. So, because we were shooting, and then COVID happened, and we had to stop and then go back. So it was a little complicated. Sure. And then IDW got rid of my job situation, so they were no longer offering production services to their TV shows. So then I no longer had a position. So there is no Blu-ray for season 4. However, all of the companion episodes if you buy the season pass on Google Play or iTunes, you can get them.
Cool. So, all right. Good deal. Good deal. But yeah, you and I have been talking. I mean, first of all, Al, seriously, thank you for coming on, because even off the air, I talk way too much about Star Trek, as we all know.
Well, so I saw that you were very animated, I should say, which I think is a key word here, about
My opinions on
about
Strange New
this
World.
show, and I hadn't watched it. I had been meaning to watch it because Mel's on it, and I'm she's like family, so
Yeah.
I really kind of was curious, because I was like, oh, okay, because I really haven't watched like the latest, like I'm a huge Deep Space Nine fan. I like watched like all the major series. I even watched Enterprise, which because it got good at the end, but
It did
it
get
just
better.
suffered through like the first couple of seasons, which was a little rough.
Yeah.
And so I hadn't really, and I didn't watch Discovery, right? Was the one that preceded this? Am I right?
That was the first new show 8 years
Right.
ago.
So I hadn't watched that, and Chris was really enjoying it, and but then recently you got really animated about it, and then I could hear my kid laughing at the Vulcan episode that you had a problem with. So then we were going to get rid of our Paramount Plus subscription, so I went ahead and just watched all 3 seasons, like in a couple of weeks. So I'm now all caught up.
Excellent.
And can talk about it with the actual opinion that
Excellent.
is informed.
So yeah, as you said, I was definitely animated about the show and had my issues. And I would say even of all 3 seasons, I liked about 3 episodes of each season. Which, I mean, listen, I again, part of the problem I think is this 10 only episodes a season. And, you really, again, so not liking 7, that's a big percentage. And, back in the traditional TV days, all right, there'd be a so-so episode or even a lousy episode. It's like, all right, next week it'll be better.
Right.
And you had 20, 25 episodes a year. So like, you could sit through the rotten ones or the not as good ones. But yeah, man, I just feel like, I don't know. I don't know the pressures of writing. I'll be honest. And I do feel bad sometimes as I get to know some of these writers, and I know they don't do it intentionally. I don't know what the pressures are, but you have been in a situation where Winona Earp was, produced by Universal, and right? And did Universal make it?
Well, the U.S. broadcaster was Sci-Fi, so that would be NBC Universal, but that's the U.S. broadcaster. So we had a different, we had different broadcasters in different places. So the Canadian broadcaster was separate from that.
But what studio produced Winona?
Well, technically, it was a 724 production. So that's a Canadian company out of Calgary, based in Calgary. Okay. So basically, like what happens is, and this is like, like how sometimes like you'll watch a TV show and like Warner Brothers produced it and it's on, CBS or whatever.
Oh yeah,
that happens all the time. So it's kind of that kind of situation. It just depends on who's. Yeah, but but yeah. So basically, like. It was a Sci-Fi production, but they're just our U.S. broadcaster. So
right. Well, that's what I'm saying. No, and I don't know how many notes the Sci-Fi Network was. They
got a fair amount of say in how things went, and especially from a contractual level too. Like I know that when we did season 4, that there was some contractual stuff like where we couldn't end on a cliffhanger. So. But very rarely do they really kind of get into the meat of the story from a contractual side. But they do have, production executives that are around and give notes and say stuff. And I think that even the first episode, there was a back and forth with the producing team versus Emily as far as like how serious or funny the first episode should be. And she was, I remember talking about it with her, and she was like, they kind of wrote out the funny, and she was like, I'm never gonna let them do that again.
And just to clarify for people, Emily's the showrunner, but give her full name.
Oh, Emily Andrus. So
Emily Andrus.
Yes, the queen of Winona Earp. She was the showrunner and the creator. So I mean, Bo Smith created the comic, but Emily created the show.
I'm with you.
So yeah,
keep going.
Just to clarify. But anyway, so yeah, so it was so I don't know what's going on over there. Like nobody does. Like we don't know what's going on over there, or how things are being run, or how many cooks are in that kitchen. You know, if the cooks are good at all. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I don't know. It feels. I kind of was in the same place you were at with it. I think it's very well acted. I think that the characters are interestingly developed. Like I don't think that's the issue per se. It's beautifully shot.
Yes.
And you know, yeah, but I did feel like the scripts were uneven.
And that's again, I think you're being kind. I think that, but I agree with you from a production standpoint. Yeah, it's a good looking show. Everything, you know, as I've learned from people like you and Gabe Hardman, everybody below the line, the production people, they're all kicking ass and making a very good looking show. And I agree with you that I think the actors are doing what they can with the stories and dialogue they're given. But yeah, something's missing. And I hate to be as curt as I can be, but a lot of what's missing is just good. And we're not getting a lot of good. We're getting some decent. I do think there were one or two decent like beyond decent episodes, but yeah, I just feel like we're being let down. And also, I think that Kurtzman, based on comments he's made publicly, and also the other big showrunners, Alex Kurtzman and Akiva Goldsman and Henry Alonso Myers, who are the showrunners of Strange New Worlds, they're leaning more into the gimmicks and not as much into traditional Star Trek.
Yeah, and I know that they're probably running into trying to make this a little bit more current, if that makes sense, which is ironic.
It's in the future, but in fairness, Star Trek has always tried to be relevant to the time that it's being made. Enterprise did the 9/11 riff with, you know, the I was going to call it The Expanse. I don't remember. It might have been still called The Expanse, not to be confused with the Amazon show. But you know, yeah, the Xindi attack Florida and cut, you know, a big swath of it. Trip loses his sister, and so now we have that season 3 whole big story and everything. And clearly, it came out of 9/11. So, you know, I understand that, you know, they want to be relevant to the times. And certainly the original series had the Vietnam episode and other episodes that were relevant to the 60s. So
I'm not really even saying that. I feel like there's a it's a language thing, and more so than a topical thing, if that makes sense.
Do you mean like their modern vernacular? Is
yes.
that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
think that there's a weird like disconnect, because I think that they're also trying to stick in that like that 60s era thing. Like then they want to have it both ways, and you kind of can't have it both ways.
What 60s era thing are you specifically?
Well, it's like you're having to kind of like shoehorn like a more modern approach to the vernacular and the way people act with each other in a thing that's supposed to be slotted into a point in time that we've already seen, if that makes sense.
Well, okay, because yeah, contextually, you're right. Strange New Worlds takes place in that original series,
right?
General era, even though it's a few years before the original series. Yeah, but you know, I get that, and certainly Discovery was trying to do that as well. Thank God, it seems like with Strange New Worlds, they've gotten a little further away from just, and also Picard did this too. And I'm no prude, but truly the amount of F-bombs and other like, you know, stupid things, especially during Discovery, where Tilly's like, wow, that's fucking amazing. And it's like, you know, yeah, and so I don't know when you say modern language, it's like,
no, I don't know. There's like it's hard to explain. I don't know. Look, I think that they're trying to be, you know, hip with the kids, if that makes sense. And I don't know that they can be hip with the kids.
Well, I think they can, and I think the building blocks are there. It's just the execution at the end of the day. Hey, it's great. It's truly great that there are more female leads in New Trek than the old days were, and certainly as well more diverse characters. It is great that we have characters of different orientation, and we've got trans characters and non-binary characters and gay characters. That's great. I think that's great.
I didn't feel like that.
Well, not in Strange New Worlds.
That's what I was gonna say. Because I was like, do we really?
Maybe Ortegas. I mean, they really haven't, I think, identified any relationships for her.
You know what I thought was going to happen? I thought that I can't remember anybody's names right now.
That's right.
So quickly, but it's the genetically engineered lady, and then the security lady. I thought that they were going to end up being a couple when I first started watching it.
Oh, so are you saying the first, Rebecca Romaine's character?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, and you're right. I mean, because they certainly did, pal around.
Yeah.
But obviously, by the third season, we knew that La'an was into Spock, and I'm glad you started that. And also,
I know. Yeah.
Number one can still be non-binary.
I mean,
and boyfriends and girlfriends.
I thought it was going to get real loose with sexual orientation from the very beginning. It felt that way to me, and then nothing ever happened with that one.
Yeah,
nothing ever went that direction.
I know gay reviewers and some trans reviewers were kind of disappointed that after the heaviness of Discovery had a male gay couple, the engineer and the doctor were lovers and partners, and then also, as I said, you had the trans person and the non-binary woman together as a couple as well, and great. I mean, that's cool, and it I don't know why it wasn't in Strange New Worlds. I honestly don't know, but
I thought it was a missed opportunity, to be quite honest. But it just feels like, guys, this is the future. So come on.
Well, and also I just feel like they're just in New Trek in general. And I'm sure this is a message to the audience, but that there is this, hey, I hope it's okay if I'm non-binary in the case of Discovery. And it's like, it is 300 years in the future,
right?
And we've already established that Spock has
and aliens exist.
and that's what they're saying. Spock has an interspecies parentage, and it's so I really don't think humans are going to be blinking, and it's got to be, because literally it was this big dramatic pause of my pronouns are them, they. And this, I hope that's okay. And she said this to Anthony Rapp, who plays the engineer who is gay, and he's like, yeah, I don't care. He's like, okay, and that's fine. But again, it should have just been, oh, I prefer them and they. Oh, okay, and then just keep going. You need the pregnant pause. You didn't need the dramatic moment. No, but again, they're speaking to the audience and letting us know they see the audience, and that's okay. But it is moments like that I'm just like, I kind of think you're trying too hard. I think show more than tell. Just do.
I think they also I don't know, they really leaned into the goofiness, especially the last couple of seasons, which I did not enjoy at all. I had a really hard time watching the fairy tale episode.
God yes. Yes.
I was like, oh, okay, this is can this be done now? I just really did.
Did you guys on Winona? Did you do any flat out comedy episodes that really deviated beyond the big story that you guys were telling?
Not really. I mean, we would do there was one in season 4 where they there's a fog that you lose your memory, and it was kind of almost they didn't really remember who they were, and so they kind of were trying to piece it together by finding information from the house, and they basically, it was almost a body swap episode, but it wasn't, but it's because they didn't really know who they were.
Sure.
So then Winona thinks that she's a waitress in a bar, and Waverly thinks that she's a cop or whatever, and that's just not
okay. Yeah, Next Gen did an episode like that. Angel did an episode like that. So yeah, that's fun. That's cool. But no,
We only did like when we've done stuff for like people under weird spells and they act ridiculous and stuff like that too.
Sure.
But it always kind of, we had a Christmas episode and and we had a Halloween episode and I think those always were really well received and stuff. And we did goofy stuff. I mean, it was a silly, fun show, but not to the point where everybody's like in completely different costumes and acting like completely different people for the entire episode.
Well, and I'm sure it's a lot of fun for the cast to bring character and
that stuff is like when you get to do something that's against your normal thing. Although I do remember, I thought it was really funny that they made Mel sing because she had always, because everybody's like, why haven't you done a musical episode? Because we never did one. I think it's because Mel really didn't want to sing. So I was like, when I saw that, when I was like, oh my God, they made Mel sing.
What did you think of the musical episode?
I thought it was fine. I thought it was actually pretty okay. I thought that some of the, I thought that it felt like it had a lot of, I don't know, I feel like it went on too long. I know that sounds weird, but like I felt like it, like not enough happened, or I felt like that way in a lot of cases.
Well,
it's hard to kind of put your finger on because it's like I'm like, well, okay, I got it. Like it's a musical. Like I got it. Like okay, let's figure this out.
You could say that. You could say that about the Vulcan episode as well. That not enough happened, but also let's compare this musical episode to like Buffy, which I think is the gold standard.
Oh, absolutely,
of nerd musicals and stuff. And first of all, supernatural and a magic spell, so I can appreciate that. But man, they worked really, really hard. That all those original songs, and I know there were original songs in Strange New Worlds as well, but they really were either of the moment, telling a story, or even telegraphing what's to come. I remember Xander and Anya's song, "I'll Never Tell," and it's like, all right, there's definitely problems brewing with them, and we're gonna get there, but not yet. Things like that. Now I know, again, in fairness, Strange New Worlds tried to do the same, but there just were a lot of like first of all, again, it wasn't science fiction. They could claim that it was the reasons why they all suddenly burst into song.
Yeah, the rationale was really weak, but which is fine. I'm like, you know what? Like, sprinkle some techno dust on it and move on. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. It's fine. You know what I mean?
But there was no techno dust. I mean, or not enough. And also the real thing that annoyed me was before the big finale. And I like Celia Rose Gooding, the woman who plays Uhura, a lot. But they had her character go, "Hi, I'm Lieutenant Uhura, Commander Cadet Ensign Uhura," because I think she's a lower level than what she was in the original series. She's like, "I know a lot of you don't know who I am." And I'm like, "You're one of the communications officers. If there's anybody on the ship that they know, probably you, buddy." And again, it's not her fault. It's the writing. Right. And it's like, do you guys not? And that's just been my hair pulling thing of, man, you don't know how Star Trek works, do you guys and women? Yeah. You really don't. And the ones that do, and eventually we'll get to talking about Khan, Kirsten Beyer, who's doing the Khan show, and also not only has been one of the producers on Discovery and Strange New Worlds, but also wrote a lot of Star Trek novels, including a lot of Voyager novels that happen after the last episode.
Well, that makes sense because people who do that usually know what they're talking about.
Well, and I was going to say she's and as evidenced by Khan, it's like we're getting a better caliber of writing, and I'll get to that. But yeah, that's just kind of been my frustration. And again, too many gimmicks, too many plots that play out like I Dream of Jeannie or Bewitched, frankly.
I mean, I felt like the first season held together probably a little bit better than the rest of the seasons.
Yeah,
this last season, I felt like, I don't know. Like, I'm sad. I guess Mel's done. So.
And she was great. Honestly,
I thought she was great too. I mean, I think she's great. I think she's great in everything she does.
Yeah. Oh God, yes. And I loved her on Revival.
Yeah.
So I thought she was excellent on Revival. But yeah, again, I mean, even she was given kind of clunky dialogue, I think, at times. That it's like, come on, write better. And also, again, you guys dealt with, although you were not there for season 4, or you were for Winona?
Oh yeah, I was there for season 4.
Okay. And
Yeah.
you guys, like you said, you had to shoot through COVID and everything.
Mhm.
And
Well,
really,
we had to shut down during COVID, and then we had
okay.
to figure out how to come back in July of 2020
Okay.
during COVID before vaccines, and so we had to create an entire protocol on how to work together. So that was
Sure.
a
Well,
challenge.
they're not so much COVID, but they certainly are leaning on the fact that the strikes happened, that delayed their shooting. And again, forgive me, this is for the audio audience.
Yeah.
I've said this, and Al made a face. The only reason why I'm pointing it out, Al, is because
Excuses. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what it felt like, and it's like, so I understand there was a writer's strike going on, so you stopped thinking about the show that you work on.
Right.
Doesn't make sense to me. I don't know.
But yeah, like I mean, like yeah. So I felt like there was a lot of weirdness. I just thought I thought there was like a lot of missed opportunities. I think that the Gorn as the big bad is a little too on the alien nose and complicated because there's supposed to be this like really smart, deadly like what is that? Like what would you even call that? Like it's a monster. It's technically like a monster type thing, right?
Like
instead of like having which I always like thought like the Cardassians or the Romulans were like way better foils because they can talk to you.
I agree with that. Well, I mean, I don't mind the idea of like a xenomorph sort of character, like the aliens in Alien. But so I don't mind a barrier of we can't even talk to these people. How are we going to get? But again, what bothered me was that like create something new. Like we got the Xindi during Enterprise, we got the Cardassians during Next Gen and Deep Space Nine, and we got great, interesting. We had the Kazon in Voyager, but I like my favorite aliens were the Vidians that were like organ harvesters. Do you remember them from Voyager?
I didn't really watch Voyager.
Oh, okay.
Voyager's the one I really didn't.
But that's the thing. Like they could have called these Gorn anything else, and would have been like, oh, okay, well, we got a new alien. We got a new alien. All right.
Here's where I think that they missed an opportunity is when they did the bottle episode on the planet with the Gorn and the pilot. I think that I think it would have been more interesting to bring that let's humanize them in some way. Because I just felt like it was very like black and whitey. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Well, and they were doing Enemy Mine. You've seen that, haven't you?
Yeah.
And and again, Star Trek did it a million times. And I hear what you're saying, but just using the Gorn complicated the bigger story. And again, I'm a broken record, but when they beat their chest very defiantly and are like, oh no, this is canon and it all fits, it doesn't. And really leaning on the Gorn when we have that amazing, and I know he's in a rubber lizard suit in the original series episode, but that's a great episode of Star Trek.
They did do some music cues that I really appreciated using that music.
That's true.
But I was like, oh, isn't that clever? I thought that was cute.
But leave it alone, and also to have that other alien that shows up in Arena as well, the Metron, and be like, well, we're gonna make you all forget what happened, and it's like, I'm sorry, Dodge.
I felt like what happened is that they wanted to do something interesting, and then they had to wrap it up in a bow and then move on because they had to go to this other thing that they had thought was cooler, I guess.
But that's been hanging. But that's literally been hanging since they introduced the idea with La'an saying my family was traumatized by the Gorn.
I know. That's why I thought that was going to be really. I thought that was interesting to me. That was actually interesting to me.
And it would have, and it maybe would have made more sense if she were on the planet with the Gorn rather than Ortegas. Although I know Ortegas obviously was traumatized by the events of the two-parter and the cliffhanger,
which I thought that was fine. I thought that.
I agree, and that's and just on those on the cliffhanger and that was resolution of the cliffhanger. One of the episodes I actually liked this season.
No, I thought that was very well done. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I again, deciding on the Gorn, it's like, well, like you said, they had to wrap it up, and it's like, yeah, but they were going to face that problem anyway from the moment they decided that it had to be the Gorn. In terms of how are we going to reconcile this when Kirk is on the episodes going, we don't know who the hell this, they're called the Gorn, we don't know who they are.
Well, so that's my other question is like, so if this is, supposed to slot into the wider universe, it's like, where did the Gorn go?
Well, they say at the end of the episode that they went to sleep, which, by the way, that sounds like the Borg in Best of Both Worlds in Next
Right,
Generation.
but like, did they go to like forever? Like, I'm
assuming they're hibernating and will wake up in a couple of years in time to bug Jim Kirk.
Oh, but I'm saying, like, where did they go in the Star Trek universe? That's my question. So, like, because we really don't hear about them.
Well, actually, I believe they're in. Boy, here's a nerd. Actually, I believe.
Okay, no, tell me, because I was curious about that. Because I'm like, why have I never seen this enemy before?
Well, I know that they have made subsequent appearances in other Trek shows, including the original animated series, where I think they had them even eventually joining the Federation because the two groups were able to come to an understanding.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, again, it's like it didn't need to be the Gorn. And the only reason why it was the Gorn was Akiva Goldsman has some hard-on about making stories like, oh, I always wanted to do the Gorn. It's like...
No, he wanted to do Alien.
Well,
that's the answer.
Well, honestly,
so maybe he should go work on that TV show they're making that's about aliens.
Yep.
Sorry.
And no, you're right. No, I'm glad you said that because they just take too many things from other science fiction, not only television, but video games as well, movies, obviously, with Enemy Mine. And they don't have original ideas. Even I appreciated the idea of the documentary episode, but again, really
badly done. Though it was really badly done. Like I had a real issue with that one. For obvious reasons, for somebody who like makes stuff like that, it's like that was like really not.
No.
Yeah, it didn't make a lot of it didn't make any sense either.
And I don't know how much this because again you went through all three seasons, but M'Benga's storyline that goes back to that flashback episode with the war.
No, I thought that was like really like the character. Like I said, the characters are three-dimensional. Like they're well acted. Like I don't have any problems with anybody's backstory or like whoever fleshed all that out like did a really nice job.
Well, but my problem was and it kind of manifested during the documentary episode earlier this season. He confessed. M'Benga confesses to Pike. Yeah, guess what? I did kill that Klingon ambassador, basically. And that was the zombie episode. I didn't care that it was zombies. It's fine. I mean, it's an easy trope. The meat of the story was M'Benga telling him, "Hey, this is really what happened." And I would imagine with either next season or the 5th season, that will be the reason why M'Benga is no longer chief surgeon, and so they can slot in McCoy. I hope that they won't. Okay. I hope they won't ignore Dr. Piper, who did the second pilot. So there were two actual there was John Hoyt in the original Cage pilot, and then Where No Man Has Gone Before, DeForest Kelley wasn't on that episode. It was an actor named Paul Fix. So I whatever. So I understand that, okay, that's a good setup. What I didn't like was in the documentary that Ortegas's brother seems to know all about M'Benga's killing. And if it's that public knowledge, I would think that the Federation or Starfleet would have M'Benga on charges. And it would, it seemed like in the war flashback episode that only a few people in Starfleet intelligence knew that M'Benga, despite being a doctor, also had this period where he was killing Klingons. And again, it's like, what do it was unnecessary. And they put it in the documentary, and it's like, all right, there's another, you stubbed your toe again, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I think that they're like trying to wrap a lot of narrative around things, executing it in a way that they don't know how to do well. And I think that that's happened a lot.
Yeah. And also, my God, what they do to Spock. I mean, truly. And also in that same documentary episode, that he is so embarrassed by being human, he wanted to cut. They said that he cut himself. He would cut himself as a kid and was trying to cut the human side of him away. And I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that. I didn't. So well, please, I'll disagree. I have no problem if you disagree with that.
No, I don't disagree with you. I thought that the whole documentary episode was not great.
Yeah, well, that's all. Yeah, but again, there are character points and story.
So you would never shoot anybody like this close to their face. I'm sorry, like in a documentary setting. So, anyway. I mean, I don't care if you have like a floating camera thing that, like, you know.
Yeah, that didn't bother me.
Did you? I mean, that doesn't bother me either. But like, my point is that like you would still never set up the shot like that because it's ridiculous.
Did you ever see the Babylon 5 or Battlestar Galactica documentary episodes?
Yes, I thought the Battlestar Galactica one was actually very well done.
I think the Babylon 5 one was as well, and also
it was okay too. Yeah, I haven't seen that in a long time. But I know now I remember what you're talking about. I was like, well, oh yeah, okay.
And having Earth manipulate the footage to give a different narrative than what really was happening, and I think they were trying to do that to a degree with this documentary, but again, poor execution. I just, you know.
Well, I also think that you wouldn't, if somebody's trying to do a got you documentary thing or whatever, like they just wouldn't. There's just so many security. I mean, if you think about it, like if you really want to get down to brass tacks about how things would really work in the real world, there's no way they would allow that.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and it had that opening, like a lot of documentaries do, that this footage has been authorized by the Starfleet or whatever.
Like, okay,
and it's like. Yeah, I don't buy it. And also, yeah, they're just its narrative was uneven. Like Ortegas went from I hate Starfleet to now, Starfleet's great. And look, they have birthday parties for Bolians and that.
I mean, like, what they were trying to do was basically like be self-reflective themselves as people writing the show. Like, okay, yeah, we see that like if you like step back that like them killing this person or them doing this to these people is a bad thing, and that we shouldn't be doing this, and that we're self-aware. Like it was a self-awareness like propaganda episode. Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. Well, there was another one that I wanted to ask you about. I talked to you about the Vulcan one because I felt that was a huge missed opportunity to do something with the fact that they all understand what Spock is going through because they're all human and Vulcan at the same time. And that, I think, is actually more interesting than what they did with it.
Agreed. I absolutely agree with you. And again, a real missed opportunity. And it was.
I did not hate it as much as you did, though.
I didn't think it was funny, and I thought it was stupid. And again,
the kid thought it was hilarious. So I guess if you're 21,
well, God bless Danny.
It's hilarious. But Danny has seen all of Star Trek, so
Danny has or has not?
Has, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, and we know, Chris, obviously, Danny's dad did an excellent novella, and a great story. And forgive me, everybody, I forget the title of it, but look up Chris.
I don't remember either. It's in some collection with novellas in it.
Yeah, it's three.
It's like three novellas. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's great, and I was so pleased to read it and enjoy it, and I love Chris's writing anyway. But no, Chris gets Star Trek in a way that these writers I don't think do, and again, I think a big problem too is they don't think like science fiction writers. They think magic and supernatural stuff is okay, and it is to a degree.
It can be. I mean, Star Trek does have an element of that to it. It's not all science, but it's nice when they like at least try.
Yeah.
Well,
that's the thing, and the setup for the Vulcan thing, there were just too many. Like, well, they're going to a planet that is pre-warp, but the Vulcans have visited them, so they know about Vulcans. But and even though they're pre-warp, they have really significant sensors. So we can't just make our people look Vulcan. They have to take an injection.
Yeah,
and
which actually that was fun. I didn't have a problem with any of that. It was really not good science, but that's okay. What I had a problem with is that they made the mission not the thing, and I felt that was weird. Like to have, and it was like almost to the point of ridiculousness. Like they beam down and they beam up in like 5 seconds.
Yeah,
Because they're that much more efficient or whatever.
Right,
and I was like,
right.
Come
And
on,
I
guys.
understood the story reasons why. But yeah, and it's okay that it was a bottle show. But you're right, a much more interesting bottle show would have been, wow, Spock, I never knew.
And they could have started out super Vulcan, but then I think that as they kind of were moving through that process, that something would have come up. I think that's actually, and then you have empathy for Spock. Oh, look at that! That was an interesting concept. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and again, I mean that's again in general their treatment of Spock. I just feel like they really don't understand the character beyond the very the very basics and what we see on the surface.
I will say though that after watching that show for just a couple weeks, pretty much all the time, I really enjoyed living with them in my world, and that's why I think that it's too bad it's not better written, because I think that the team, I think that all the pieces are there. I think that they just need to be put together differently.
Yeah, well, and again, they do seem to go through writers in both shows, Discovery and Stranger World, very rapidly. Yes, I don't know why, but like one of their main writers of season 3 will not be back for season 4, and I'm kind of relieved.
So they have been renewed for another season.
Oh yeah, oh no, they've shot season 4 and are in.
Oh, they have. Oh, okay.
And I think they literally just started shooting 5, which is only going to be 6 episodes, because and I love that this happened. Literally, one of the reasons why the season 3 didn't end with a cliffhanger, they weren't sure if they were going to get a season 4
right
at the time. So they wrote the fine. And by the way, when a show, just in general for streaming, my own opinion, don't give a cliffhanger if it's going to take 2 years to get to a resolution. That's too long.
Well, that's kind of why we had that.
But also,
we did not have that happen. Like I explained to you, like that was actually contractual at one point. So, yeah.
No, and I get that, but Paramount was going to say, all right, season 4, and that's it. They're like, no, we need a season 5 because we really want to get to the point where Pike is handing Kirk the keys to the Enterprise. I'm like, okay, it's your ship now, Jim. And they're like, well, fine, a 2-hour movie. And they're like, no, that's not enough. And it's like, so they went back and forth and finally agreed on 6 episodes for the 5th season. Now, I don't know, because and again, sorry, everybody that loves this show, but I hope, I really hope this production team.
I will watch it. It was fine. Did I think it was? I just didn't think it was the best thing I'd ever seen.
Well, I like Star Trek that impresses me, and I would even say that Enterprise finally kind of got their mojo at the end.
Yeah,
it would impress me with episodes. They've made a handful of decent episodes, but I also think that even the decent ones I've had issues with in different plot points or whatever. But I believe that Secret Hideout's days are numbered as far as being the producers of Trek. I don't think the new management likes what they've made. We are hearing, again, only rumors, but that they're not crazy about Starfleet Academy, the new show that's going to premiere next year with Holly Hunter and Paul Giamatti. And I know, I was impressed by that too.
I guess everybody's got to eat, John.
Again, they do a good job of casting. They do a bad job of writing, in my opinion. And I don't have confidence.
I don't know what's going to happen over there at CBS. Like, to be honest, because the new ownership is a very different. Thinking group of people. So
I know they are also from a journalism standpoint and a political standpoint. The one thing that I do hear, and actually I heard it again on a different podcast that I listened to, that the guy that is in charge of creative editorial that Skydance is bringing in to oversee all this stuff. He's a good friend of Matt Fractions, and Matt was raving about this guy.
Okay.
And it's like, this
well,
guy.
That's a good sign. I mean, I trust Matt too. So
because you need an executive that's on your side, because Les Moonves, who ran CBS and UPN, was not a science fiction fan, and also CBS All Access.
He was also very problematic for other reasons. So
yes, yeah,
we will go into
sexual predator. I would agree with that, absolutely. But no, again, I mean, that's the thing. Back in the Berman era, Kerry McCluggage was the guy in charge of Paramount, and he understood and wanted good Star Trek. And also, they were very fortunate being a syndication program and not tied to a network that, Paramount kind of left them alone.
Yes, you get because it's that puppy is sold and going all over the place. So, yeah. No, it was a different TV model. Absolutely. And Rick Berman, who eventually was the showrunner, he was kind of he was the network hire that was brought in to work with Roddenberry while Roddenberry was still alive, and then took over when Gene died. And it's like, okay, well, and again, it's like, hey, for better or for worse, the guy made 17 years and 3 fantastic spin-off shows. So, I don't think he was a saint, and I think he had some issues and could also be rather misogynist at the very least. Well, everybody was, John. Let's just be frank.
No, you're right, though.
So I don't think anybody's going to ever beat Deep Space Nine. I'm sorry. That's just how I feel about it.
There's a reason why the Defiant is above you right now, Al, on the screen. I love that show. I adored that show. And I mean, it hit its growing pains. And that's the other thing that sucks about streaming. Next Gen took 2 seasons to really find its footing. They had decent episodes in the first and second seasons, but it really wasn't until the 3rd season that I really felt like it understood.
Yeah, but this is not what this is. That's not what this is. This is something different. I don't think it's not that it can't find its footing. That's not what, I don't think that's the problem.
But I don't know if they know beyond the gimmicks and the general idea of, all right, we're going to tell stories that are 10 years before Kirk's Enterprise or however many years it's going to be. I don't know if they know what they want this show to be beyond the experimentation with John.
I think that's the problem more than anything. Yeah. I think that they're all, I can see where it would be it's a hard, thought experiment, because you've got to kind of fit it in this space that's not that big, right?
I don't know, Al, honestly, again, I think if you introduce new aliens, that there is potential for a good story. Yeah. If I were them, if they want to keep it in the TOS era, whoever ends up taking over Star Trek, fine, give us an entirely new crew, an entirely different ship, and stop just hanging your hat on.
Yeah, I think that it gets a little bit mired in the fact that it keeps starting to slot in, okay, now we've got McCoy is on the ship. You know what I mean? Right. It's like now we've got and then Kirk is there and then his brother and all of that. I'm like, can we just why isn't there just a different ship? There's other ships.
Well, that's the thing. There's a fleet, and they've talked about the fleet, and occasionally we'll get references to the fleet. But I thought maybe that's what this was, but it's not. So it sounded like it was going to be. Although again, from day one, we had Chapel, we had Scotty, Scotty we didn't get till the cliffhanger of season 2, but we had Chapel Uhura, M'Benga. I was okay with, because literally he's in 2 or 3 episodes of the original season, and that's it. And it's okay, and it's a good opportunity to have a person of color be in a prequel show, and it's no, I'm for it. That's okay. Again, I think Dr. Boyce was a great character as well, and you could have had a Wendell Davis, an older person of color, as the Doctor instead of M'Benga, and made him still Doctor. Now I got to think, John Hoyt's character. I can't think of his name. If somebody in the chat knows, by all means, Boyce, Dr. Boyce. You had Dr. Boyce, Dr. Piper, and then Dr. McCoy. And then you had Mabenga as a Vulcan medical expert. And that's why he was on the ship, was to specifically help treat Spock at various things.
Right.
I think there was too much plot armor. And that's why even in that season 2 cliffhanger, it's like Scotty is being held, I forget who, but there were some original cast characters that were being held, and it's like, well, nothing's going to happen to them,
right? It was the one where Chapel's on the ship, like she's she went back to the ship and like everybody's dead. First of all, why is she the only person that survived? Like, don't you find that strange? That was like also like I was just like, okay, guys, come on. Like, we know she lives, so like let's not like pretend like she's not gonna pick somebody else and then kill them,
right? And kill them,
right? Like,
really, really shock us. I mean, that was the one good thing about the nurse whose eyes got burnt out and became the god. And it's like, all right, well, at least we got a character die for a change. And of course, Hemmer, the Andorian, or the Enar, the blind engineer.
I thought that was all very well done. Like I thought that was good.
Well, on the one hand, I felt bad, and as I understand it, the actor really was blind, and I think having the makeup and because really is more of a mask, like a vinyl mask, than it is just appliances and
oh makeup. yeah.
And apparently, like it was like kind of driving him nuts because he couldn't see. So it was even more, I think, suffocating, or not in the literal sense, but that it just messed with him more. So I don't blame him from that standpoint. But also, he's only on like 4 episodes in the first season, and it's like, Uhura's still bummed out about her friend, Hemmer, and it's like, we barely knew him. And that like robot girl in Discovery, there was a woman that was more android than human. Mm-hmm. And she had a longer funeral than Spock did in Wrath of Khan.
Oh my God.
And it's just like, we don't know who this person is. I like
that they kill people. So like, I think they should do more of that.
Well, you have to kind of go, well, nobody's said.
Otherwise everybody's gonna be like, okay, well, I'm sure they're fine,
Yeah.
Because you can't, all the people that are gonna die, like the people who aren't gonna die. So
can't kill Pike.
Can't kill Pike. Can't kill Nurse Chapel. Nope.
Can't even kill Mabenga. I mean, it's like, all right, again, it's
I had forgotten about her on the ship, and then she finds Spock or whatever.
Well, and also,
I'm like, come on.
Introducing Dr. Corby, which I was like, well, that might be interesting. They did nothing with him other than
he was lame.
He was really lame. And it's like, I mean, again, you go back to the original series and what are little girls made of, and that and also they got, I guess, he's on a bunch of anthropological digs, but ultimately he gets into AI and robots because that's what happens in the original series. Mm-hmm. And there's no hint of that so far in what we got. And again, he was a himbo on the show. He was there to be Nurse Chapel's boyfriend. That's pretty much it. I mean, I know they had the whole plot thing of him in the last episode being on that planet and needing to be rescued or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I felt a lot of their resolutions, with the exception of the cliffhanger, but even that, we're going to put the Gorn to sleep. They had interesting ideas that didn't pay off.
They kind of backed themselves in the corner in that one, so.
The Gorn story this seaon, that I suppose they could have kept it going. But that's the thing. And also, like you mentioned, the fairy tale episode. My God, that whole thing.
I had a real problem with that.
Well, the whole daughter storyline, I thought was like overly trying to make us feel bad. And then,
they really didn't want to go back to it, clearly, because they wanted it to be completely resolved, which I thought was a little bit much,
It reminded me of on The Simpsons when Principal Skinner's real name, I forget what his real name was, but you get his whole backstory about serving in Vietnam. And then Superintendent Chalmers comes, is like, well, as far as I'm concerned, you're really Seymour Skinner, and we'll never discuss this again. And that's kind of what happened with Mabenga's daughter. Daddy, I'm fine. I'm going to another dimension.
You're like, he's like, great. See you later.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he's like, later. You don't even have to worry about me. And of course he doesn't. I'll be shocked if before the end of maybe she'll make an ethereal appearance. I'm hoping there's some sort of Navy inquiry or Starfleet inquiry about what happened to Mabenga, because that's a missed opportunity if they don't do that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the trial thing. I thought the trial thing was silly.
Oh, I like when those happen. Those are
like the trials, yeah.
Oh my God! Truly, every show that of Star Trek that is done, like the original series, we had court martial, and we had even the menagerie that wrapped around the pilot. We had Spock being, tried and everything. And A Measure of a Man, the Data episode. Is Data really sentient, and does he deserve human rights? Oh my God, those are, and I'll be honest, I kind of think they blew it with number one's trial, and they made
That's what I'm saying. I didn't think that the trial was like that great.
No, and I even talked to friends of ours
and
that are
awfully
television
weird.
writers.
It was like very, I don't know. It was a very weird situation, I thought.
It was the straw man's argument.
Yeah.
The Starfleet argument was obviously more weaker than the coded argument they made, making number one kind of, like a discriminated person.
Right.
And that's a reasonable argument, but Starfleet has a reasonable, or the Federation even has a reasonable argument too, to go, we all remember the eugenic wars. We all remember Khan. And, if we start manipulating with genetics, we're on a slippery slope and terrible things can happen. That's why we have this law. We got it in Deep Space Nine with Julian, with Dr.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And that's a great episode. And it's like, no, that's a legit. And again, by all means, we all want Una to still win. We want number one to still win. But it's like, balance it out. And also, again, I'm a broken record. Star Trek used to make you think about things and debate.
Right.
I really feel like New Trek tells you what to think. And I think while I agree with 99% of their beliefs, I think that is a little harder to swallow if you're not in line with the producer's politics. In a way that I felt, even though Roddenberry was pretty progressive and the entire 60s writing crew was clearly very progressive for its time, they still made you think and go like the Vietnam episode.
Like I said, like I said with the court, it felt very black and white. And I think that what Star Trek usually does is shows you all of the different bits of gray that everything isn't black and white. And that's what we should really think about before we make a judgment call on something, right? So
I agree. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, mentioning Khan, I do feel like I should mention what happened this week on Star Trek Khan. When we last left our hero.
Oh, is it this guy? Is this guy the voice?
Yeah, Naveen Andrews from Lost is Khan.
From Lost.
He's great.
Yeah.
Al, it's a great cast, truly. Him and Ren Schmidt from all.
Oh, yeah. When is
Marla.
that coming on again? Talk about a great show.
Pretty soon. I would imagine early next year. But I can't wait for that to come back. But no, I was a little disappointed in this week's episode. It's now about 6 months since they've been left on SETI Alpha 5, the events of the original series, and SETI Alpha 6 just blew up. They just saw the readings.
Oh yeah.
So they're dealing with the climate changes.
Right.
Given that another planet in their solar system, blew up, but then they had this very weird, and I assume it's going to pay off if they're telling stories the way they should be told. But apparently, some alien race had to crash land on SETI Alpha 5 during this worry about SETI Alpha 6 and how it's going to affect the environment of 5. And it's a telepathic. It's a new race. I've never heard of them before. And it was interesting, but I really hope beyond this interlude of them showing up, they were concerned about Khan is like, well, we need to go underground if the surface is suddenly going to get irradiated and all the dust bowl, kind of sandstorms and everything. Like, all right, we need to go underground. And it's like, yeah, but we need to find good sources of clean water underground. And I don't know if we can find that. Well, these aliens communicate with Khan only telepathically and direct him to an underground water source. So they are going to go underground. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But also, I hope that's not like not the only time we're going to see this new alien race. They had to have, I'm assuming, messed with them in some other way that further screwed them up or whatever. Like, and also, I mean, the scientists that work, the augments that are scientific, tell Khan, hey, this is what's going to happen to the planet. Meteors are going to rain down randomly. Like I said, our atmosphere is going to change. You're going to have sandstorms. The crops are going to die. All this stuff. It's like, and all of a sudden, this alien race crashes on the planet, and it's like, we'll get a ride from them and get the fuck off the planet, dumbass. No, and again, I get it. Khan is stubborn and wants to make this society work. But when the odds are that far against you, I mean, I'm right now, I don't understand where the story went in terms of where it's going to go with the subsequent 4 episodes.
Well, maybe they'll bring it back around again. I mean, maybe it'll make sense. I'm sure it will.
Like I said, up until now, the writing has been, I've loved every episode. They're giving the supporting characters, the other augments, interesting things. They didn't trust Marla at first, and it took 4 episodes before they did finally start trusting her, and about 4 months of them being down there. All that was great. She and Khan didn't trust each other, and now they're at a better level of understanding each other. So no, I mean, that's the thing. And I think the pacing was good, and the science fiction in it was quite good.
Right.
So, I mean, that's the thing. I really do like the show. And again, thrilled that both George Takei and Tim Russ came back and were great. And we've even got a little bit more of Takei in episode 5. The other interesting wrinkle, and I know I told you this off the air, but I spoke about it last time I talked about Star Tre Khan here on the show. They really didn't go into great detail, but the historian that's on the Excalibur that's trying to figure out exactly what, turned Khan, she really mistrusts the Enterprise's original readings of dumping them on SETI Alpha 5. And she's been able to go through the Enterprise logs, and it was Spock that did the readings on the SETI Alpha system in general. And it was revealed in episode 5 that Spock knew that SETI Alpha 6's core was unstable, but no indication that it was, imminently going to blow up. So with that in mind, I still say what I want to hear is, what did the Reliant know? And why did the Reliant coming to SETI Alpha 5 thinking it was 6 in Wrath of Khan, how did they misnumber those planets and not? I would assume they'd scan the whole system and not just be like, hey, well, the fact that the historian.
The last time I was on a starship, John, we definitely did the scan.
I understand.
Sorry,
I get it. But again, if they're gonna make that story point, I hope it pays off. I would assume it will pay off.
I have a feeling they'll probably come back around to it. I'm sure that's just a gun on the wall, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Robert McKee, everybody, story, the book.
Yeah.
If you open a movie and there's a gun on the wall, by the final act, someone's going to be using that gun.
There you go.
True. Absolutely. That's Signs, the what's his face movie, the alien invasion movie where
I never saw it. M.
Night Shyamalan. But
yeah, I know. I never saw it. I used to call him when I worked for Robert. Because he did all his stuff was with Miramax and Dimension too. And I used to call him Shamalama Ding Dong.
Well, sure, we all did. Absolutely.
Because he was like, I thought, his first movie was really good, and then he kept trying to do it over and over and over again, and it never worked. So,
I liked Sixth Sense. I liked Signs. And in Signs,
I never saw Signs. I saw Unbreakable. I think that was the last one I saw.
And I liked Unbreakable, but in Signs, and it's not a major plot point, but Joaquin Phoenix is an ex-minor league ball player, and his bat is on the mantle. And
and then uses the bat. Yeah.
Uses the bat.
It all comes back to baseball, John.
Yes.
The poor Phillies. Damn.
We talked last night for the audio audience about the pennant race. And the Phillies.
We don't know what happened with the Brewers and the Cubs yet because we've been talking to each other.
We're talking to each other, absolutely. But yeah, so there you go. Amari wanted to know and give me an update on Star Trek Khan. So I haven't caught any of Khan, but I've seen a little of your coverage. Can you tell me how much Trek I have to know or have to see to get into this? Wrath of Khan and Space Seed, just those 2 episodes, Kari, excuse me. I have another friend named Mari.
I mean, do you really need to see Space Seed? I mean, you could probably just see Wrath of Khan.
That's true too,
right?
Yeah, for real. Yeah, you're right.
I don't think you need Space Seed too.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's fair. But yeah, I would say so. Yeah, if you know Star Trek 2, then you're going to be okay. And Peacemaker wrapped up tonight, and I got to say it was a really strong season. I love where they're at. Oh, good, Carrie's still watching. So yeah, Carrie, Wrath of Khan. That's all you need, buddy. And it's a good movie. It's the best Trek movie. So
it is. I saw it. They did an anniversary screening with the director, I want to say, and Michelle Nichols was there. It was at the Chinese Theater in LA.
Nicholas Meyer.
Yes.
He also wrote the story that Star Trek Khan is based on. Kirsten Beyer and David Mack adapted it into the 9-episode audio drama that we're listening to now.
Okay.
But yeah, Meyer wanted it to be like a 3-part, and I would assume that they would be like 2-hour parts, but maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
But he wanted
this must have been like 2017, 2018, something like that. Like it was a while ago. But
that's interesting. Yeah. Well, and again, that's kind of when he thought it was still going to be a live action production, and even was working on Discovery that first season.
Right.
There's, I still haven't gotten confirmation, and I only bring it up hoping that somebody will find an article and send it to me, or some sort of video quote or whatever. But Meyer supposedly has been out saying publicly that he has been blackballed from Star Trek, and that they don't want him around anymore, as far as the current production people.
Well, this is the director of Wrath of Khan, right? He was kind of thrown out the door back then too, like if I remember correctly.
No,
a little bit. Remembering that
he worked on 4 and 6 as well of the original cast movies.
Oh, he did. Okay, maybe I'm thinking of the writer. I don't know who was there. Anyway, it was
and Meyer actually not only was the director, but really like they took like 5 scripts, and he's the one who had to like put them all together.
Yeah, I think that's who was there. I think that's pretty much
probably
him and Michelle Nichols is who was there. Yeah.
The best.
I know.
But he also made the Time After Time movie with H.G. Wells and Jack the Ripper.
Okay.
Which I adore. It's like
yes, I have seen that.
He wrote the novel and made the movie The 7% Solution with Sherlock Holmes and Sigmund Freud.
Oh right, yeah.
And he continues. He's actually and again he's getting up there. And I think he said he's written several other Sherlock Holmes books since. And he's a great Sherlock Holmes writer as well as a great Star Trek writer. Yeah. So, but yeah, I just get this vibe, and again, I don't know what comparisons you can make to agree or disagree, but I just get this vibe from Kurtzman and these guys that if you're not in the clique, then they're not interested in your ideas. I mean, Terry Matalas.
That's how it always is, John.
Yeah, but Terry
Matalas works.
Yeah, I suppose. But Terry Matalas was working for them when he show ran Picard, and he was involved, unfortunately, with season 2, which was just a train wreck. But also he did the heavy lifting for season 3, and really conceived of it being a next generation reunion and everything. And all it did was like unify the new fans and the old fans, and we're all like, all right, Star Trek Legacy, let's go. And instead it's like, no, we're going to give you Academy. And we're like, we don't want it. We didn't ask for Academy. We want this show. Oh no, you're going to love it. Well, we'll see. It comes out next year. But, and they try to approach Secret Hideout, Jerry Ryan because, the way Picard season 3 ended, she's now captain of the Enterprise G, and with this new crew and everything. And they're like, okay, so, they're like, hey, you want to come back and be Captain 7 and all this? And she's like, well, yeah, Terry Matalas and Legacy. No, we actually have a different idea. And she's like, well, if Terry's not involved, I don't want to do it.
Right.
Oops. Carrie agrees. Nicholas Meyer is great. I completely agree. I can see where he'd be tough, and I do think he is used to getting his own way, being a director and the writer that he's been in other projects. But yeah, he you know,
you kind of have to be to do that job. I mean, you really kind of have to stand your ground, or you get walked over. So
no, I hear you, buddy.
Or you don't get the job in the first place. But yeah, no, it's kind of a weird time in the business, John. Yeah. Oh, it's gotten so much worse.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
It keeps getting worse.
No, absolutely. We did get a little bit of Star Trek news inadvertently because, and by the way, I've seen this. I don't remember her name, but this woman who's going to be on Starfleet Academy. And if you don't know, Al, obviously she looks like a Jem'Hadar. She's half Jem'Hadar, half Klingon. Now, first of all, there were no female Jem'Hadars back during Deep Space Nine. And yes, they were grown. And forgive my
reproduce, right?
Well, that's what. Yeah, they were hatched. And also,
right.
If you don't, and I'll keep this as clinical as possible. But if you don't need the sex parts to procreate, do you have them? I assume that all the Jem'Hadar were Ken dolls down there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They were cloned and grown. So
grown, also no emotions. They were literally, they lived to fight.
They were that was their whole thing.
Now I realize this is 900 years later, and I'm sure there'll be some sort of
just like Jurassic Park, nature finds a way, John.
Yeah,
maybe they mixed it up with some frog DNA and something crazy happened.
If there is an explanation, I look forward to hearing what their explanation is. I mean, literally, there's great moments with the Jem'Hadar and Dax, Terry Farrell, and it's like one of them. I think it was Dax. She was amazing. Terry Farrell's fantastic, and also really Nicole DeBoer playing Ezri, I think did a hell of a job.
I thought she did well too. I think she had those were big shoes to fill.
Absolutely. But there's a great scene with one of the Jem'Hadar and Dax, and he's like, I understand you're like 300 years old. She's like, yes, I've had 9 lives. And he's like, for a Jem'Hadar to reach double digits in age is an accomplishment, because they were cannon fodder. They were there to fight. They were infantrymen in this.
And I don't think that they have I think that they were built specifically not to live long or something. There's somewhere in my memory that there is that rationale as well. But,
they needed that drug, Ketracel White, to literally live. And so that might have been it as well. But regardless, the actress, and she's a stand-up comedian. She's a British stand-up comedian. And forgive me, everybody, I don't remember her name. But she kind of spilled the beans. And I think they were hoping this weekend at New York Comic-Con to announce the air date for Starfleet Academy. But she kind of was like, hey, everything's going great. We can't wait to show you guys. We'll see you in January. And she made an Instagram post. And then all of a sudden it was like, we'll see you sometime next year.
Did they pull it down? Because that would have been my job to be you need to pull that down now.
They made her change it. And she did. But unfortunately, cat's out of the bag. Sorry, kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
the internet is a fun place. So I kept a pregnancy secret. Actually, Mel was pregnant in season 2, and I kept it secret. We kept it secret until we aired because we made it a story point. So yeah,
and again, they did that on Deep Space Nine with Kira, with an visitor.
Yeah,
which I thought was great. But that kind of got let out. And also, there were.
They need to hire me to do their social media, and people don't do that.
There you go, everybody. So Skydance, Al is waiting for a call.
Oh my goodness!
I was going to say they also showed an image of the ship that also apparently is the school, and that's okay in principle, and it looked fine.
That's not. Okay, but I thought that they were all in San Francisco.
Well, because again, Starfleet Academy takes place during the Discovery era, which jumped a millennia. I mean, it literally went 1,000 years in the future.
Okay. Okay, so it's in the future. Discovery's in the future?
It's in the future of all the Star Trek that we knew from Strange New Worlds being a prequel to the original from Enterprise.
Yeah.
All the way through even Prodigy, which is post Voyager getting back to Earth, and even after Picard season, it's 900 years after, or maybe it's only 800 years after Picard season 3.
So it's far, far future.
Far, far future. And during that time, there was an event called the Burn. And what happened was all the dilithium suddenly became explosive. So they couldn't do long distance planet to planet space travel like they used to. So the Federation really broke away, and Earth even left the Federation and kind of did its own thing for like over 150 years. And it wasn't until season 3 of Discovery that between Starfleet and the Federation and Earth, things normalized again.
Oh, okay.
And so now Starfleet Academy is about them restarting the Academy.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay.
Potentially.
Okay. All right.
Potentially.
I'll buy that for $1.
No, I mean, I don't blame them, but again, given how much everyone really was in love with Legacy, and the fact that it opened the door for other cast members to do an episode and do, show up, and not Visitor or Frakes or Michael Dorn or, everybody. And instead, we're sticking with this future, and we're getting totally new actors, which is fine. But it's like, we didn't ask for this. We are asking for this show. You would have made everybody happy if you just stuck with Legacy. And no, it's like, no. We want to do Academy. And Discovery is a divisive show. And what they did on Discovery is divisive. So, I don't know. Oh, there you go. Carrie has the name of the half Jem'Hadar, half Klingon. Yeah, Gina Yashir is her name.
It's the actor
might
name.
Be, yeah, and stand-up comedian might be, and forgive me, everybody, she might be a non-binary person, so if I'm using the wrong pronoun, I apologize. But but she is funny. Or they are funny if it's they. I have looked up the comedy. It is good, and so there's potential there. We'll see. Certainly better than man. It bums me out how one
you
note
said
Carol.
Jem'Hadar and Klingon, right? Is that okay?
Because they're two warrior races.
That's an interesting combination.
Well, I'm assuming because they're warrior races, fine. But again, it's like, I mean, I just love that all of us that watch Deep Space Nine are like, no, Jem'Hadar.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I guess
they should have gone extinct. But again, hey, maybe Odo taking over the Dominion made some sort of changes with the Jem'Hadar.
And that's possible, as this is far future. Like, I could see how he could, be like,
yeah, and again, it's 800 years. So
re-engineer them or whatever, right, I guess. You can do.
Hey, give them dicks, okay, and give them vaginas, okay. You never know.
It's a lovely thought.
Dicks for everyone.
I'm glad that we've gotten down to the brass tacks of what's really important.
Again, I feel ridiculous pointing that out, but it's like,
it's
no.
True. No, literally the minute you said that, I was like, wait a minute.
Well, there you go. I mean, and truly, when we saw this image of Gina in her makeup, we're all like, what? And also, female Jem'Hadar. And it's like, no, didn't happen. Well, and again, procreation by cloning. No, not getting down. Not getting busy. No Barry White in the Jem'Hadar quarters while they're getting down. I don't know. The hell do I know? I just work here.
I don't know. Me too. I don't really work here. I'm just curious.
No, you don't know. But you're great with your opinions. Is there anything you wanted to share before we wrap up?
No, not really. Just hanging out with you. That's all.
God bless.
Watching a lot of baseball.
Yeah, we had fun last night. There you go. Yeah, yesterday was Al's show, and today was my show. Like, She's like, well, I got some thoughts on Strange New Worlds. I'm like, well, then you got to come on.
Well,
I'm
you
sorry
were
that the guy
so
couldn't-
you were so like I said, you were so animated about it, and then I was planning on watching it anyway. And so when we talked about it, I was like, well, we can do this on air. I'm like,
you didn't watch Discovery. They had an episode in season 2. The whole season, that's where they introduced Pike, and he came on the Discovery.
I knew that. Yeah.
They did a sequel to The Cage, the pilot, where they go back to Talos 4.
Mm-hmm.
And they go back because Spock is kind of schizophrenic, and they need the Telosians to unscramble his mind, which is fine. But another plot point that made no sense from season 3 was, Melanie is the love of Pike's life, according to season 3, and everything else. I mean, all 3 seasons, Captain Patel. And I don't mind that, but it kind of really doesn't make sense that when he ends up on Talos 4 in the menagerie at the end of his story, why is he thinking of Vina? Why isn't he thinking about, Captain Patel? Yeah, I know. Sorry, Al.
There's some continuity issues here with this.
Well, and also, when they did that sequel in Discovery, they weren't thinking about Captain Patel back then. So I understand.
Cast Mel yet, probably.
No, they hadn't.
Mel's great. Let's keep her on.
And she, Melissa George from Alias and a million other things, played Vina in the sequel. But and also, by the way, his hair in season 2 of Discovery, I had to remind myself, much more normal than.
Oh yeah, his hair is fantastic. It's very robust. His hair.
It's like Chick Hearn in Fletch when he's talking when Chevy Chase is dreaming that he's a Laker, and he's like he's 6'2", 6'9" with the afro. So,
too much.
All right, so there you go, kids. This week's gripe about Star Trek. We'll have a more con-focused episode next week. The guys will be back. They're all in New
York. Yeah, everybody's in New York.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that Wayne,
except us,
we're not. Except you and me.
I honestly, I can't. That is my least favorite convention. It is just very difficult.
It's a cluster, to say the least.
There was one year Chris and I were both there, and they had this red carpet down on the show floor, and the carpet started pilling and like kind of getting airborne at one point. And
oh my God,
all of us were everybody we knew had horrible like bronchial infections after that because we were breathing the carpet.
That's not good.
Yeah. No, thanks, guys.
Ever since they merged the show with the anime and manga show, it was already.
Oh my God, they put them together?
Yeah, it was already too crowded when it was just
comic book
and TV and
that anime manga show is huge too. Like it's its own thing. I can't believe they merged them.
And also, Al, they used to have the press junkets upstairs in the Javits Center, and that's where you'd go for the press junkets.
Well, the rooms there are tiny.
Oh, I know. Hold on.
Yeah,
I know. But they now for the press junkets, you have to go to Madison Square Garden, which is a 15-minute walk.
Yeah, it's not close.
No,
I mean it's totally walkable, but like that's.
No, it's 100% walkable. But it's like you're not making it any easier for the people that are there beyond the press junket or the other side of.
Well, because if you're scheduled back to back, also you've got to get the talent over there. That's a nightmare. It's hard enough because I've done a panel for Winona at New York first year, and I moderated it too. So I moderated it. I did the AV, and I was running the talent. I don't recommend ever doing that ever. It's just too many jobs. But just getting them in and out was like really it's way more complicated. I mean, San Diego's is complicated, but like it's complicated in a different way.
And they have those back alley portions of the convention center at San
Diego.
They
do, but New York is like way more sketchy. Like it's like not because you really don't have a car. Like we had to get in the like town cars and stuff. You know what I mean? Right. It was like, and it's not like San Diego. I have like dedicated transpo, right? And like every day, like we know exactly like
Where the van
who was
is.
driving us and like all that stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
No,
But,
I understand. And again, you're right. I mean, it's gotten a little better as far as that goes around the Javits Center. They've built a few more things, so more cabs are in the area. But no, it's really a nightmare. And it's like it's not worth the aggravation. And that's why
is it still under construction or did they finally finish it?
That is a very good question. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Did we lose?
Did we freeze? Oh, did you freeze? Oh, there you are.
For a moment, but we're back. We're back.
Yeah.
In case you just missed. But yeah.
I mean, I love New York City. Obviously, I'm wearing a Mets jersey, but I love New York as a place.
Me too.
Not for comic convention.
Well, again, thanks for making it even more complicated by merging the two shows. But that's their choice. Whatever. All right, Al. There you go. We did good. Thanks a lot, everybody, for watching and listening. Next week, hopefully, some of the guys might be back. I don't know how tired they'll be post New York, but I would like to eventually have them talk not only about some of the other TV and films that we've all likely seen, but also get their read on Khan. I know Mitch has not watched or listened to Khan yet, but I know that Franco and Wayne were like an episode or two behind. So whenever they catch up, we'll have them on. But regardless, I'll be back next week to talk about episode 6 of Star Trek Khan. I hope you will join me then. Until next time, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy.
Star Trek will not be presented tonight, so that we may bring you the following special program.